Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Gwen and this is Home to Inspire DIY and Decor. If you are new, welcome to my channel. I invite you to please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this type of content. And if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. I have some thrift flipped ideas for you using some thrifted finds as well as things I already owned. So this is a stool. I thought that it was super cute. I went ahead and picked this up from the thrift store, and it already had like this personalization on it, but I knew I could remove that and just give it my own spin. First things first is to remove all of that design. I took a sanding sponge, but as you saw there, it really wasn't helpful in removing the design, so I resorted to using my palm sander, and that quickly came off with no problem. I knew I wanted to paint this a different color, so I went ahead and chose a color I already had in my stash. This is the DIY Cottage Colors called Haint Blue. Very pretty light blue color. And this is my first time trying out this Cottage Colors by DIY. And I have to say, I do like the coverage that it gives after multiple coats. However, it did take quite a bit of coats just to cover this little stool. I did sand off just the main parts that had the design. I didn't do any sanding to the entire body of this footstool. That could be the issue. Maybe next time I will make sure to sand my piece very well before using the Cottage Colors. But I found that I did have some runniness to the paint when I did my initial couple coats. You can definitely see like the undertone, you know, the orangey wood color coming through pretty well. And like I said, I did have to paint this multiple times just to get a nice solid coverage on it. But the end result, I must say, came out really beautiful. You will see that in the finished results. So again, if I had to do it differently, I would make sure to completely sand the entire footstool or entire object or anything that I was going to paint, especially when it has like a clear coat or a varnish of some sort. And this one definitely had some type of sealant because it had a very slippery finish to it, like a protective finish. And that could be the reason why it wasn't really giving that good coverage on the first couple coats. I think it took like about 4 coats, to be honest. So here I'm gonna use some of these wallpaper cutouts. These have been in my stash forever and ever. These are the Wally's brand. I don't even think they carry this anymore. It's been that long that I've had this on my stash. I would almost, suffice to say, call it vintage, because honestly I've had this forever in my stash. And I thought, you know, let's go ahead and use up these little cute wallpaper cutouts. I've been wanting to use them actually, but I just didn't really have the right piece that I wanted to use them on. But I figured, you know, this really complements this stool very well with that nice blue color. And this is like a wallpaper. So the directions essentially says to use water. You have to wet it, and then after that it just sticks on like wallpaper. So with this, I went ahead and just used some water like the direction says to, and then I went ahead and used my brayer tool just to help adhere everything and smooth things out, because once you wet paper, as you may or may not know, it does tend to curl up and roll, and in order to get that flat finish look and to make everything lay smoothly, I did use the help of my brayer. But if you didn't have one of those, you can use your hands or you can use a credit card. You just have to be really careful. You can probably even use a piece of plastic food cover, like a cling wrap of some sort, and then use that to sort of burnish the stick, you know, the wallpaper over your object, and that should also work as well. But here I was just really making sure that the wallpaper cutout had good contact on all sides and corners and everything, because if you do not do that, you're going to get lifting in different areas and then making your project more susceptible to getting damaged. So I really didn't want that to happen. So I just made sure that the wallpaper had really good adhesion to the footstool, and I was just making sure to use my fingers to flatten everything out along with my brayer. So here I'm just picking different parts or sides of the footstool of where I wanted to place these stickers or these wallpaper cutouts, and I think just adding a few of these little cute lemon designs really gives this piece a nice fresh look, and also just gives it a whole new look. And it's super cute, more modern looking, and also shabby chic. It has a shabby chic look to it as well. But wouldn't this be adorable just to use in a bathroom? I guess that's what most people would probably use it for, or just as an accent piece somewhere in your house, just to display in a corner, just to maybe stack some things on, books or little tchotchkes, or like a candlestick holder. There's so many options for how you can use a footstool. It doesn't really have to just be for stepping on. But here I'm just going to go ahead and cover the entire thing using some Big Top. This is also by DIYs, just to give it a protective finish, just to make sure that those wallpapers are very securely attached and that hopefully nothing will get damaged. Moving right along to the second project of this video. This is an old table that I've had in my bathroom for so many years, and all I wanted to do was give it some fresh new life, make it more brighter, and just make it look prettier and not so old and dingy. And the first thing I did was just to make sure I cleaned it well, and then I sanded off the surface. I didn't do like a full sanding or anything. This wood here is pretty thirsty. It's a pretty raw piece of wood, and it does absorb paint very well. There is no like super strong finish to it or anything like that, so I wasn't concerned with having to completely sand off any of the paint. I went straight away to painting this piece using the same color I did for the first project. It's called Haint Blue. And like I said, this is a very thirsty wood table, and I just got to working on painting the entire surface. I did make sure to get down all sides, all corners, even on the underside. I'm try to be very detail oriented when it comes to painting, just trying to make sure that if there is a possibility of any of the base wood color showing through, I just want to make sure that it's fully covered so everything matches. So here, this is the first coat of the paint. As you can see, it is a little bit on the runny side. I mentioned this in my first project. And with this paint, I just find that you do have to give multiple coats in order to get that really full coverage look. But since this is a very sort of bare wood type of table, it does take and grab that paint really well. So I think I only painted maybe 2.5, 3 coats max on this project, as opposed to the first footstool that I did, which took about 4 coats or so. So this is how it's looking, and I love how it instantly transforms the piece from that old dingy gray to this really pretty light blue color. So again, I'm just experimenting with this new cottage color here. I know this paint line has come out with so many more colors in this cottage line, which I have not yet been able to try, but this is my first try at using up this paint, and that way I have a better idea if I want to try buying different colors. So much like the first DIY, I'm going to use up some Wally's. This is the rose pattern, super pretty, shabby chic looking pink roses with some light green leaves. Super adorable, and I thought this was a perfect design to decorate the front of this sort of drop leaf looking table. And this table is cool because it's very thin and narrow, and it's perfect for a really tight spot in your house or anywhere that you want to use it. Like I mentioned, I use mine in my bathroom. This is perfect because it doesn't take up much space, so it holds like all of my lotions and toiletries and things like that. Like at the bottom I keep like a wood crate type of box, and then I put all of like my Bath and Body Works supplies underneath. And it's just great for just storing those types of things as well as being decorative but not taking up too much room, which is why I really love this piece. I believe this originally came from Michael's. Michael's usually carries like their unfinished wood furniture products that you can paint and DIY yourself, and this is one of those things. But again, this is something I've had for 15 years, if not longer. So I'm not even sure if they carry this style anymore. But I know Joann's also carries stuff like this where they have like the unfinished wood items that you can paint and DIY. But anyways, for this wallpaper, I decided I'm not going to use water like I did for the first project. I went ahead and used some Mod Podge. So I did the same thing as I did, which is just spread some of the Mod Podge to the back side of each of the roses, and then just created the look or the pattern how I wanted it to look in the front side of this drop leaf. And then I just used the little sticky dots that this came with. It's like a little sticker that's removable, and it's just a way for me to be able to design the wallpaper cutouts the way I want it to look without permanently adhering it, just to get an idea of how I want this to be permanently placed. So after attaching or adhering all of those wallpaper stickers, I took my Mod Podge and just spread that over the entire furniture, mostly focusing on the areas where I had the wallpaper cutouts. And this is going to be in the bathroom, so there's going to be moisture and things like that in the bathroom. So I want to make sure that I really have this well protected so that it doesn't start to lift or, you know, get messed up or anything like that. So I went ahead and chose to stick a couple of the wallpaper cutouts on each side as well. I just wanted to add a little accent here and there, and I just thought that the placement of this placement right here, where I have one on the top and one on the opposite, you know, like diagonally on the bottom, would be really pretty and eye-catching. So I went ahead and just repeated that step to the other side. Now all of these roses are the same. They have the same pattern, they have the same design and everything. There's nothing that's different about each of these. So I just basically used it like in a fashion or in a way that I wanted my roses or my design to look. And it's super versatile and customizable. That's why I love using things like rub-on transfers and wallpaper decals and things like that, because they're super versatile and you can use them in so many ways, whether it be on a furniture piece like this or you can use it to make home decor. But I really love how this one came out. It's currently styled in my bathroom and it's used for the exact same purpose as it was before, but now it's just given a new life and it looks so much more brighter and more happy looking in the bathroom, just adding that pop of blue color, which I really love. I hope you guys are enjoying this video so far, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. I'd love to have you join my YouTube family. I do a lot of Dollar Tree DIYs, thrift store makeovers. I do Dollar Tree hauls and Hobby Lobby and all the things. If you enjoy that type of content, please consider subscribing. Please give my video a thumbs up and don't forget to share my videos as well to others who might enjoy this type of content. And to all my current subscribers, thanks so much for sticking around. If you still want to be subscribed to my channel, just make sure that you still are, because there have been some information out there that some subscribers are being unsubscribed by YouTube. So if you can just check your settings, make sure that you still are subscribed to my channel if you still want to continue being part of my YouTube family. That'd be great. So this is a finished look. I really love the outcome. This is very shabby chic, giving me shabby chic vibes, and I think it's adorable. Super easy makeover. And if you enjoyed this one, please comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. So for this third and final project of this video, I'm going to transform this lamp. I've had this lamp for quite some time. I picked it up on clearance at Walmart. It's super cute and everything, but I wanted to give it like that faux pottery look. As you can see, it's very shiny and it has like a glaze to it. But we're gonna go ahead and transform this using some of these Waverly chalk paint and the neutral colors. This is Snow White, Sandstone, Mineral, and Hazelnut. So I wanted this to have more of an overall neutral look to it. And this is my first try at making faux pottery. I've seen other people do it and I've always been interested and intrigued by it. So today's the day that I'm gonna go ahead and experiment using some of those chalk paints and some baking soda. Baking soda is just going to add some texture and also thicken up the paint, just giving it more of that pottery look, giving it sort of like a rough sandy texture. So I'm using a pouncing brush. It's one of these foam brushes from Dollar Tree, and I find that painting on glass or something like this with a foam brush such as this is a lot better at avoiding streaking and brush strokes and things of that nature. So I prefer to use like a pouncing technique using one of these little foam brushes. It's like a stencil brush. And this first base color is going to be the color Mineral. So Mineral is a really pretty neutral sort of taupey beige look. After I completed the first layer, I just sped up the process of drying it with my heat gun, and I'm gonna move on to using some hazelnut. Now this is a richer color, it has like brown undertones with some orangey undertones to it, and I'm gonna add some baking soda, much like I did with the first, and I'm gonna use this sparingly because I don't want this to be the most dominant color of this pottery look. I'm just using a very light hand to lightly pat on some of that color, and then just taking the other brush that I used to dab on that mineral chalk paint, use that to sort of erase or brush off some of the hazelnut color. I'm just going to blend everything, and at first I was sort of blending a little too much, so I had to keep going back and with that hazelnut color just to deepen up those colors again. So this is the close-up of that sort of orangey brown color that you're seeing, and I really think it adds a lot of depth to this piece and just gives it more richness to the color tone. And again, if you try this and you find that one of the colors that you're using is a little too overpowering, you just want to make sure that you go light-handed with it and just spread it out, you know, across your project, just making sure that you don't do too much of that same color in one concentrated area, because that's what I tried to avoid here. I just made sure that I dabbed it here and there in random spots and just trying to use the lightest of touch while I did this, and then going back in with that first brush with the mineral chalk paint and just dabbing off some of that color, blending it in, and just trying to keep a little bit of that color in there while blending it with the mineral. And that's essentially what I'm gonna be doing to the entire piece using like the same process with each color is basically just dabbing on and wiping off with the original mineral chalk paint color, and so on and so forth. So here I'm just using the white chalk paint this time. This time around I just went ahead and just sort of dab that onto different areas, and then just went back in with a mineral chalk paint brush that I used, and then just blended that in. And then I just kept playing around with it until I was happy with how it looked. And really, this is a preferential thing, if that makes any sense. It's like it's your own personal preference of how you want your colors to look and how you want them to blend, and which colors you want to dominate your project, or which one you want to have more of a subtle look to. So really, this is just something that you do have to keep playing around with until it's something that you're happy with, as far as, you know, visually, if it's something that you're looking for. Because a lot of the colors that you use in like creating a pottery look really revolves around your type of decor, your color scheme in your home, and things like that. And I just felt like this is a safe way to keep it. It's just very neutral. I thought about making this predominantly white and then adding like some other types of colors into it, like that hazelnut maybe, or some brownish tones or something, but using white as my dominant color. But then I went ahead and just decided with the mineral color instead. I figured this is a good place to start. Maybe next time I try this again, I'll try the white background route and then like go from there. We'll see. But I have to say that this was a very fun and relaxing DIY to do. I really enjoyed just sort of playing with the colors and adding and removing and adding and removing. It's just something like there's no rhyme or reason to. It's something that you just continue doing until you're happy with the outcome. And there's really no rules to doing this type of thing. It's, at the end of the day, it's, you know, you have to be happy with your results. So if you're not happy with it, then you can always alter it just by making little changes. But I have to say, I was really happy with the overall result. Look at that texture, and I love the richness and the depth of this color. I mean, it's very, has a subtle neutral look to it, but the little tones of dark, you know, like the hazelnut color to it with the lighter parts, which I forgot to mention, I also use sandstone, but you did see that in the beginning of this DIY. And this is the finished result. This is just a lampshade, an old lampshade I had already in my stash, so I just wanted to style it for this video purposes. I'm not really sure if that's the right color of lampshade, to be honest, and I would probably, if anything, paint that lampshade if I were to actually use it. But for video purposes, I just wanted to give this a finished look and show you the end result and how it looks basically with the lampshade. I thoroughly enjoyed this process, and it was so much fun, and I really love how it came out. I hope you guys liked it too. Please give me a thumbs up and follow me for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in my next one.